Well, good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday to you. Today is Tuesday, March the 22nd of 2022, and we are here at 901 Main Street for our board meeting this morning. Today is a voting session, and we are calling our meeting to order, and we have the honor of having the invocation and the pledge by our very own Deputy Director, Von Jameson.
Are we going to have praise and worship first?
Right.
Madam Commissioner.
We got some liturgical dances.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, Madam Commissioner.
Good morning.
Good morning, colleagues.
Good morning.
Good morning, citizens.
Good morning.
May we pray. Kind Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for your goodness. We thank you for your mercy. We thank you that you are a kind Father because you allowed us to live, work, and play here in Rockdale County. God, we could be in so many other counties, but you've, by your divine providence, allowed us to live here. So we say thank you. Thank you for her fine chairman and her fine commissioners. God, continue to crown their heads with wisdom as they lead us into the future. God, we thank you for all my colleagues that have taken the vision and are every day looking to make Rockdale a better place. We thank you for her citizens, God. We thank you that they are working together. Thank you for their ingenuity. Thank you for their patience. Thank you for all that they bring to the table. Father, we just honor you and we glorify your name. Today, God, we pray especially for the one that came to work, that still has things struggling and going on at home, but they still found it within themselves to press their way. God, when nobody else is there, we ask that you comfort their hearts, that you be there, Father God, as we continue as one to make Rockdale the greatest county in the state of Georgia. We give you glory, we give you honor, and we give you praise. This in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We certainly want to thank Deputy Director Jameson for always representing Rockdale County so well as he leads us from time to time in invocation. He sets the tone with his presence and with his words of wisdom and encouragement through prayer and supplication to our Christ. So we certainly thank him. Let's give him another round of applause. Commissioners, I don't take it lightly that when we have leaders who love the Lord, and certainly when we have employees who are not afraid to display their relationship with Christ, because it talks about the fact that we're leading this county and we're being led by the love of the Lord, and that makes a big, big difference even in the face of controversy and sometimes adversity and all of the challenges that being a leader is part of. So certainly we appreciate that. Just wanted to make mention of that.
Can I just add to that I'm sure not all of our employees are Christian friends, and we appreciate their dedication and their devotion.
Absolutely.
Also. Whether they worship in a different way or they don't worship at all. Some people are very, very kind and respectful, and we appreciate all of that.
And Commissioner, I appreciate you sharing that because we have so many people of very different faith, not only throughout our workforce, but throughout our community. It's like I've said it many times before, Rockdale is kind of like a bowl of fruit cocktail. Yeah. We got a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and it all makes it so very good. So we certainly do appreciate whatever your faith is and your denomination and your level of worship is. We respect that, and we certainly do appreciate you and your presence, and I appreciate the commissioner pointing that out, the different levels of love and faith that is shown in our workforce and in our community.
I was going to say, do you think it might be possible for us to maybe find like a rabbi or somebody from the Islamic faith to maybe give a invocation in something different.
In fact, I don't think it's difficult at all when I think about Rockdale County and all the years. This is our 13th year, Ms. Mims, doing the pastors table, and we've opened up the pastors table, as you know, to faith-based entities all across Rockdale County. And I'm confident and certain that we can find a rabbi or two amongst that crowd that's willing to come out and lead us in invocation. That's a great suggestion, and I think I see Ms. Mims making note of it right now. She's probably going to have a rabbi or two by the time this meeting comes to a close.
And I don't know what they call the leaders in the Islamic faith, but I'd be interested in that.
Very good.
An imam.
An imam.
Very
All
good.
right, thank you. There it is. You see this talent sitting up here? Absolutely. Let's move forward. At this point, we do have an opportunity for special recognitions and presentation. I think our fire chief, Chief Mack, is going to lead it. The spotlight is on you, Chief.
We don't have her music. Everybody that knows her is hearing it in our heads.
Aren't you singing?
Well, not this time. It's not about me today, it's about my lady.
Very good.
Okay.
Very good. All right.
So, Mr. Chairman, Madam Commissioners, thank you for this opportunity. As we know, March 1st through March 31st is the celebration of Women's History Month. And the celebration of women and their achievement in history dates back to the early 1900s. Most notably in 1980, President Jimmy Carter proclaimed the week of March 8th as Women's History Week. That correlated with International Women's Day. And I would like to read the quote that he stated. He says, "From the first settlers who came to our shores, from the first American Indian families who befriended them, men and women have worked together to build this nation. Too often, the women were unsung and sometimes their contributions were unnoticed. But the achievements, leadership, courage, strength, and love of the women who built America was as vital as that of the men whose names we know as well." So with that, I would like to bring up the ladies of Rockdale County. We're going to honor the women of Rockdale County Fire Rescue this year, March 22nd, 2022. Most often, you see myself or Chief Webb, but there are so many other women that make up Rockdale County Fire and that are contributors to their, move up a little bit, Inspector Lampkin, thank you. You're tall, you're just want to make sure not to block the view, but it's not just about the firefighter woman, it's about every woman that supports and have a part of our success. So with that, I want to start with our administrative staff, who, if you know, the spine is made of 33 vertebrae, with that thoracic portion being the most stable. That's our administrative staff. LaTanya Whitaker, who's our fire rescue finance personnel, and Ms. Jessica Dye, who's admin operations coordinator. These two women, a plethora of things they do, from our financing to scheduling to procurement, to just whatever we need, they're always there. And so we could not be as successful as we are without that admin staff, all right? So then we also have Kirsten Lampkin, who's our inspector. She started with us back on January 4th. Good. And if you would, please, Miss Bianca Patterson, whose first day was yesterday, NEO training.
Oh, wow.
Yay. As our fire inspector. I want to highlight these admin staff because when we try to recruit women in, it's not just about being a firefighter. We have admin positions and we have our admin fire prevention officers, which do our fire inspections, fire investigations, and plan review. So to our admin staff, thank you. So then we have our firefighters. I'm going to start with our newest firefighter who was sworn in December 10th, firefighter Jeria Arthur. We have firefighter L'Oreal Gaines, who's been with us, 2 or 3 years, L'Oreal? 3 years. And one of the first classes I hired had firefighter Dominique in there. And so you were just about 5 years, right? Dominique. So then we're going to come over to Lieutenant Elizabeth White, Fire Safety Educator Extraordinaire. Elizabeth was one of 2 females to achieve the rank of lieutenant in Rockdale County Fire Rescue, 2 years ago. Not here with us today is Lieutenant Sharita Monroe. Lieutenant Sharita Monroe, that is important because Sharita is the first African American woman to achieve the rank of lieutenant in Rockdale County Fire. And as we do, she's away in class, learning to be all that she can be, enhancing her skill set.
All right.
Now with that, I would like to say that on March 21st, 2019, Fire Chief Tony Washington, City of Decatur Fire Department, she and her staff was recognized on the Kelly Clarkson show as being the only all-female command staff in the nation. Her deputy fire chief is Vera Morrison, and her assistant fire chief is Nanetta Violante. Well, I would like to say that I don't know how many more there are, but Rockdale County Fire Rescue is now joining that pack. I will start with our newest addition, Valerie Jackson, 25 years in the fire service. She's holding down the position of Deputy Fire Chief of Administration. And then we have Deputy Fire Chief of Operations, Sharon Webb. Sharon's story, when we talk about admin, Sharon joined Rockdale County Fire Rescue as administrative assistant some 23 years ago. 1999. And wanted to do more, wanted to be more vital in service to the community. She went through Fire Academy, became Firefighter 1 and 2. She's a fire inspector, fire investigator. She's worked with EMA. So we're happy to have her, and she promoted up. So, if you will, all female command staff, Deputy Fire Chief Valerie Jackson, Deputy Fire Chief Sharon Webb, and yours truly. Thank you. Thank y'all for this
Thank
time.
you, Chief. I'm going to yield to the commissioners. Thank you to all of you. Don't leave just yet. Let's give them another round of applause. Y'all don't leave yet. Have a seat. I'm going to yield to Commissioner Washington, then we'll go to Commissioner Williams. Commissioner.
You know what? This is why I do what I do. This is remarkable achievement. Thank you so much for your leadership. And, you know, I know you well.
Yeah.
And so, you know, just knowing what you all have to lead you every day should make you all go to sleep and wake up feeling great, feeling like you're going to get nourished and respected and protected in every way possible. So thank you for this. Thank you for your vision. Thank you for recognizing everything that they are becoming and encouraging them to be all that they can be.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Commissioner.
What she said. I think, you know, it just warms my heart. I'm just so proud of them.
Yes, me
And
too.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You know, I've known Chief Webb for quite some time, since I came into office a number of years ago.
Yes.
And watched her move
Yes,
up
absolutely.
through the ranks.
Yes.
And, you know, when you have competent women, there's nothing they can't do.
Absolutely.
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 So,
Thank you so
thank
very
you.
much. Thank you.
Chief Matt, there's not enough that any of us can really say about your leadership. The fact that you was totally unselfish this morning to think about the women in the Rockdale County Fire and Rescue, to highlight and spotlight them. It says so much about you, and paving a way for, I see a lot of different age groups here, and particularly the young people having an opportunity. But one of the things that always resonated in my mind about Chief Mack, she said when I first met her, she talked about the fact that there's so many young women, young people who are oblivious to the fire and rescue opportunity as a career. They really don't think about it. And I said, Chief, we want to get you all over Rockdale County schools and in our community. And since that time, she has really turned the demographics for our fire department. It's a very inclusive and very diverse fire department. And we certainly do appreciate that type of leadership as it reflects all of Rockdale County. When you think about the fire department as a whole, how many officers you have? 120, 125?
Yeah, give or take.
Somewhere in that area. This is just a drop in the bucket
Yes.
in terms of the representation of the fire department. So to have these young women as examples and shining examples of this community, because somebody, and I don't take for granted, watching
I hope so.
and listening to
I
this
hope so.
broadcast and seeing these young people are saying, wow, I never thought about a career as a firefighter. It's a professional opportunity.
Absolutely.
And we have a professional fire department in Rockdale County, and I think I'll just go ahead and say it like I like to say it across the region, Chief. We have the best fire and rescue in the state of Georgia, because there's only two kind of people: those that live in Rockdale and those that wish they lived in Rockdale County. Give them another round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Commissioners, I'll add that throughout all of the departments and divisions in Rockdale County, we have strong women making a difference in leading and paving the way. Some of them are evident and present here this morning, but throughout the ranks of all of our departments and divisions in Rockdale County is women who are getting it done and making us all look good and servicing the citizens of Rockdale County. You know, when I think about last week's board meeting and the number of women from the sheriff's office that showed up, that was a part of the detention deputy crew, and I think about this morning and the fact that we're still in the heart of Women's History Month and just continue to celebrate and salute the contributions of women on a day-to-day basis. Y'all got me feeling good. I think it started with the prayer coming from Pastor Jameson too, and then Chief Mack and her recognition of our female fire employees. Thank you so much. Commissioners, let's move now to item number 4, the approval of the agenda. What is your pleasure?
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
I second that motion.
It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Number 5, approval of the minutes from March 8th, 2022 and March 15 of 2022. What's your pleasure?
I move to approve the minutes as presented.
I second the motion.
It has been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. There's no unfinished business, Director Rutledge, and I think we're going to move right on into the consent agenda. Item number 7, Commissioners, what is your pleasure?
I move to approve the items on the consent agenda as they're listed.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or concerns or comments about the items on the consent agenda? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We are now down to the regular agenda, Director Rutledge, item number 8.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 2022-149 is a text amendment request 2021-24, an ordinance to amend the text of Section 106-1 definitions, Section 218-1 permitted use table, Section 218-13 standards of use and development, Section 222-11 parking vehicles in residential districts of the Unified Development Ordinance of Rockdale County as amended, regarding vehicle parking to repeal conflicting laws and for other purposes. This is submitted for a second reading.
Commissioners, what's your pleasure?
I move to approve the second reading and to adopt this ordinance as presented.
I second the motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item, please.
Okay, item 150 is text amendment request 2021-27, an ordinance to amend the text of Section 206-4 R2 two-family duplex residential district of the Unified Development Ordinance of Rockdale County as amended, regarding structures with only 2 townhome units to repeal conflicting laws and for other purposes. This is submitted for a second reading.
I move to approve the second read and to adopt this ordinance as presented.
I second that
It's
motion.
been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 151, please.
This is a text amendment case 2021-28, an ordinance to amend the text of Section 102-1 definitions, Section 218-1 permitted use table, Section 218-13 supplemental standards of use and development of the Unified Development Ordinance of Rockdale County as amended regarding sale, rental, and leasing of vehicles, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is submitted for a second reading.
I move to approve the second reading and to adopt this ordinance as presented.
I second the
Been
motion.
properly motioned and second. Are there any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item 152.
This is an ordinance to amend the conditions of approval of zoning case 95-01 for 0 Orchard Road Southwest, to repeal conflicting ordinances and for other purposes. This is submitted for a first reading.
I move to approve the first read and to refer the ordinance to the Planning Commission.
I second that motion.
It's been properly motioned and second. Are there any questions or comments? All in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. That was lickety split there. And we're now down to public comment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'll read the disclaimer. As a reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Comments relative to any issues that are currently going through the public hearing process, matters that are in active litigation, political campaigning, or partisan politics will not be heard in this meeting. Speakers are to address the chairman, not each other or the audience, and are expected to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. The use of abusive or profane language shall not be allowed. No debate or argument between speakers and/or members of the audience shall be permitted.
Thank you so much. Ms. Corliss Turner. Come on up, Ms. Turner. She's our first speaker for today.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Williams and Commissioner Washington and Chair Nesby. How are you on this
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, I didn't know that my hello was going to be timed. Okay. So, first thing I want to mention is that you all have been talking about needing monies to do all the things that you want to do, which I do agree with. But in thinking about that, I feel the high-density housing, it doesn't, bring in revenue. It actually causes more need for water, police, fire. So it's kind of like the counties don't benefit from that. And with you being with economic development, is it? Commissioner
You make sure you address the chairman. And matter of fact, just take a break for a second. Take one good break and just count to 10 while you're standing. I want you to do something for me, Director Rutledge. Read the disclaimer one more time.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. As a reminder, public comment is limited to 3 minutes per speaker. Comments relative to any issues that are going through the public hearing process, matters that are in active litigation, political campaigning, or partisan politics will not be heard in this meeting. Speakers are to address the chairman, not each other, or the audience, and are expected to conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. The use of abusive or profane language shall not be allowed, and no debate or argument between speakers and/or members of the audience shall be permitted.
Thank you so much. I'd like the timer to start. I want to start the timer all the way over. I want to give Ms. Turner an opportunity to have her full 3 minutes to be not interrupted. Thank you so much.
I appreciate that,
Thank you so much,
Chairman.
Thank you so much, Ms. Turner.
You're welcome.
You are very familiar with the etiquette and the protocol of this meeting because you are a frequent flyer, I like to call it. You come out often, so you're familiar with the disclaimer. You're familiar with the protocol. You are to address the chairman. Go right ahead.
I appreciate that, but I haven't been to the academy, so I am getting myself
Well,
familiar. And I appreciate
I don't want to go back and forth with you, Ms. Turner. Let me explain this to you. You don't need to attend an academy. As often as you come to the BOC meetings, you're much familiar with this proceeding. I'm going to stop talking. Please go ahead. The clock is ticking.
Chairman, I just wanted to mention some things that was said at the meeting on March the 8th about the piping, that it hasn't been serviced in 40 years. And then I was at the PFA meeting and I was seeing the inside of the courthouse, the condition it was in. And it was said that it hadn't been serviced. And so my question is, whose responsibility is that for it to be serviced? I look at just like servicing a car. And I'm sure that there's maintenance crew over there. And when they see things happening, are they submitting a report? I just can't believe that these things haven't been serviced in that length of time. The other thing is, you all were talking about the raises in 20 years, and it was said that it was the previous administration. But from what I can but the information that I found is that, I don't know how many terms the other commissioners, but I know you've been here since 2012. Why wasn't this addressed before, just recently on March 8th? Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you, Ms. Turner, for all that you do on behalf of the citizens of Rockdale County. Our next speaker this morning will be Mr. Ray Bethune. Come on up, Mr. Bethune.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Good
My name is
morning,
Ray
sir.
Bethune. First, I apologize for coming in a sweat because I got notice at the last minute. I
No
would have liked
problem,
to dressed up for the occasion.
Yes, sir.
I listened to just a little bit what's been said this morning thus far, especially what I think the preacher, pastor, he said it's a privilege and a blessing for us to live in Rockdale County. I agree with that 100%. If we continue to raise taxes the way we are, a lot of people's not going to be able to afford it. I'm not speaking on behalf of myself because I know I've been blessed. I'll never forget where I came from. I grew up really poor, but I retired from the Department of Justice, and I'm proud military.
Yes, sir.
A lot of our people's not going to be able to afford those taxes. So what I ask you, when you're making a decision, I don't know what your background is from or where, try to look back and see where you came from. And just know that a lot of those people can't afford these continued tax rates. I think the United States as a whole, this is not political, we are our own worst enemy. If you notice how the price of fuel is just going up. So what are we looking to? Electric cars. What's going to happen to the fuel then if everybody go electric? So if we continue, not me, to raise these taxes the way they are going, where are the people that's originally from Rockdale County is going to be able to live? I relocated here from New York. Department of Justice sent me down, gave me an opportunity to be promoted. I look back at Harlem. Harlem started out a community of certain people. What did they do? They raised the taxes so high. How many people still live in Harlem that's originally from Harlem? So I'm asking you, I'm begging you, please consider not continue to raise taxes on the citizens of Rockdale. I yield. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bethune, and thank you for all that you do on behalf of the citizens of Rockdale County. Commissioners, that wraps up the public comment. We're going to go right into board comment, and I'll start with Commissioner Washington.
Sure. I did want to address one of the comments that Ms. Turner said about economic development and housing. Economic development is directly tied to housing, and when looking at certain developments and things like that, they actually look at your rooftops, your median incomes, and the amount of people that can service or support a certain type of retail establishment or food establishment. For example, every day somebody tells me they want a Trader Joe's or a Whole Foods. I tried to get a representative from from Whole Foods. Whole Foods headquarters is in Alpharetta. I tried to get somebody to come here and they did their own research. They did their own feasibility study on Rockdale County. They wouldn't even come down here to meet with me. So those things directly, your house type, your median income, the type of people, your density, all of those things directly affect economic development and the kinds of establishment that you get. So yes, and density, because you can't have 10 $300,000, $500,000 houses and expect the Whole Foods to come, because 10 people are not going to support that Whole Foods. It's got to be a dense amount of people in a certain area that will support the establishment that you want to. So that is exactly right. Another thing, I wanted to shed a little light on some of the things that were said last week when the sheriff's deputies were here, because there were some things that were said, and I got some questions about some of the things that were said, because, you know, we sit here and we know we have access to staff. If we have a question, we can directly ask the staff, and we're clear. So if certain things were said, and I want to bring some clarity because I got questions about some of the things. So one of the things is, you know, they were talking about the brass, the number of quote-unquote white shirts or leadership in the sheriff's office. The sheriff is a constitutional officer. He can make promotions the way he sees fit to run the sheriff's office. The people of Rockdale County have elected the sheriff to do that. And we, as the Board of Commissioners, we respect his authority and his position, and we don't have anything to say or do. We support it because you, the citizens of Rockdale County, have elected him to do that job, and we want to give him everything he needs to make sure that you all are safe, and he's doing what the citizens have elected him to do. They also said something about there are a lot of all these new cars and other things in the sheriff's department, but they haven't received raises. Well, a lot of those cars and things like that are SPLOST funded. We can't use SPLOST funds to pay for raises and things like that. Host funds, SPLOST funds, they come from a different set of monies, and they are doing what they're supposed to do with the SPLOST funds and the host funds. As well as they said something about a 65-inch TV, though that comes from inmate funds, which is also earmarked funds. You can't move those funds around to make up for raises. And somebody was questioning the increase in their budget by $2 million. That was their contract. They had a new contract for services for the inmate, for the hospital. The people wanted a different vendor, so the sheriff did his job and went out and found a vendor, and that cost an increase of $2 million, and that was reflected in their budget. And you see, when she said it, it almost remained flat. I think his budget went up like $200,000 from that. So I did want to go through and address those things that were said that we didn't actually have an opportunity to address, that I got calls about last week. Let's see. My last thing is my Women's History Month. All eyes are on Ketanji Brown Jackson, and I did her tribute last week. And when I say that we were all proud, I actually went and re-watched her speech this morning so that I can have inspiration, because it was phenomenal. So everybody's proud of Ketanji Brown Jackson, but I don't want for us to forget the shoulder which she stands upon, which is Sandra Day O'Connor. Sandra Day O'Connor was the first woman to serve as Supreme Court Justice during the 1980 presidential campaign. Ronald Reagan promised to nominate the first woman to the United States Supreme Court, and he made good on that promise in 1981 when he announced Sandra Day O'Connor's nomination. So my Women's History Month celebratory is Sandra Day O'Connor. And I'm done until Commissioner Williams reminds me of something.
Commissioner.
So I got this postcard in the mail this week, and it says, Let's get started with a free property review today. Your county is currently finalizing the property values that they deem correct. You have only one chance to dispute and defend the value, and our company can properly dispute the value by reviewing your property for data errors and et cetera. And it says $35 for residential property appeals, but you can file an appeal yourself. You don't have to spend any money. You can file the appeal yourself. The tax appraiser was telling me this morning that these companies, many of them, then the fee is not $35, but then they take a percentage of the amount that they saved you. So it's, make sure you do your research. The property tax appraisals have not come out yet, but when they do, look at it. And if you think there's a discrepancy, file your own appeal. It's not that hard to do. And can that be done online? Yes, that's what I thought. You could file that appeal online. So it's very simple. You may have seen in the newspaper this last week, that we have a new program that launched a couple weeks ago, the Opening Doors to Recovery Project, and that will service our inmates with mental health and substance abuse issues. The two together are called behavioral health. So they're two separate pieces of behavioral health. And that has been proven to reduce costs by half, in fact, when it was done in a controlled study about 10 years ago. We are doing the exact same program with the same person overseeing it that oversaw that program in Chatham County. And so we are really excited about that piece. It will, inmates that are re-entering will have an opportunity to sign up to participate, and it's a volunteer opportunity. But what it means is a couple of different things. One, there will be a note on their GCIC form that says they are participating in ODR, and a contact, and there'll be a number to contact, which means that the team that is working with those people can be called instead of law enforcement, unless, of course, there's something violent going on. I constantly need to say that, because people say to me, so are we just not sending people to jail? No, we are sending people to jail.
A lot of them.
But not everybody needs to be in jail. And that's the population that we're working with. And secondly, they will have a wraparound team of 3 people who will be working with them that they can call on 24 hours a day. The entire team is employees of Viewpoint Health, and so they are overseen by that staff. They have certifications. They have all their benefits through Viewpoint Health, and then we have a contract with Viewpoint Health for those services. However, I need to point out that many of the services that team will provide will be billable services that can be billed to DBHDD, the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities. And with that, then, we are only going to be billed for what is outside of that scope. So it's definitely a cost saving, because these folks in the study, I think there were like 108 who 129 who were returning to jail on a regular basis, whereas there was only 29 of the group that was participating in the Opening Doors project. And so I just want you to be aware of that, that we are moving forward in a pretty aggressive way. Coupled with that, we have received a, it's not really a grant, but it's support services through NACO for the programs that we're doing, and specifically for getting our diversion center off the ground. And we'll be having our first meeting in several weeks with them. There's a whole team of people from NACO and a couple of different research companies that will be overseeing our process as we go through it. And all of this consulting and information is at no cost to us. So I'm excited about that. One of the things that came up last week also was that the inmates were being given tablets, and money was being spent for tablets. And this goes along with what you were saying. I wanted to clarify that. Those tablets are being used when the jail is not open to anyone coming in to provide services, so that they can receive those services virtually. And a lot of those services are what the Stepping Up initiative is providing. I think I've mentioned before, I had an opportunity to attend one of those meetings on Christmas Eve. Those men really, really, excuse me, were appreciative of what they were being taught and how their thinking was moving in a different direction in a way that they hadn't really thought about before. And so those tablets are for that. They're not to play games with. Speaking about that too, then on April 11th is going to be they're calling it Passionate Conversations with the Voices of Tomorrow. And this is being organized by Mona Franklin, who works at the Rockdale Coalition for Children and Families, but it's young adults who will be talking about mental health issues. They have met once before. In fact, they've met with some of our Stepping Up folks. This is something they wanted to do, and it's a symposium kind of a style with panels and creative expressions, it says, through music and poetry. And after talking with Ms. Mims yesterday, her daughter will be one of those sharing poetry about mental health. There's an art exhibition also. But it's helping them with coping skills for health and wellness. And that should be really interesting. It's from 5:30 to 7:30 on Monday, April 11th at the Conyers First United Methodist Church. Then, for Women's History, I guess what popped into my head this time probably was, I get real personal about things. I have a granddaughter studying to be a chemical engineer. So I decided to look up women chemical engineers. Right now, about 25% of our chemical engineers are female. And as I was reading through a lot of things, it said, well, why don't more people go into chemical engineering? Well, it's a really, really difficult field. But there are a number of famous women who have made their mark and won Nobel Prizes in chemical engineering. So Gertie Teresa Corey helped establish how glycogen is broken down in muscles and then remade and stored as an energy source. She won a Nobel Prize for her work. Kathleen Lonsdale pioneered the use of X-rays to study crystals. Rosalind Franklin made X-ray diffraction images of DNA, which has been important in allowing DNA structure to be figured out and discerned. Although that contribution, it says, wasn't fully realized until after she had died, but it was very important. Last week I gave a quote from Marie Curie. She pioneered research on radioactivity. Ida Eve Nodak was the first person to propose the idea of nuclear fission. So who knew that a woman was that? Dorothy May Hodgkin used X-ray crystallography to determine the structure of vitamin B12. She won a Nobel Prize for that. And Marie Maynard Daly is thought to have been the first Black American woman to earn a PhD in chemistry, and she later researched effects of cigarette smoke on the lungs. And it keeps going on. There's a number more. But it's fascinating to me to think about some of the things that we hear about when we go to the doctors, and to know that women were behind the research going on with that. And so I am proud of this granddaughter of mine who's studying chemical engineering and loving it.
Very good.
She's one of few girls, young women, in her classes, but she's made friends at college with some of the other women studying that, so.
I can't even imagine waking up in the morning thinking about splitting DNAs or replicating DNA. Can you imagine?
Well, you should.
The first thought after coffee is splitting a DNA.
You should hear her talk. She gets so excited.
She would be so disappointed in our conversation.
I just have to listen and enjoy her enthusiasm because I don't know a thing about what she's talking about. She's a freshman this year.
Very good. That's good that she's excited. Commissioner Washington, you've been provoked by a few comments.
Actually, just one thing that I skipped over in my notes. Yesterday, I had the grand privilege of being called for jury duty, and you all know with what I do, I've picked too many juries, but to be summoned in Rockdale, and to see it from the other side, I got to just see the things that our clerk of court is doing. First of all, it's over in the auditorium so that you have space, and it's so relaxed. She even has a DJ that sits at the top and he plays jazz music, so everybody's relaxed and comfortable, very orderly. And she gives you your $25 payment on a gift card so that they don't have to write checks or everything, but you don't get it. They don't activate the gift cards till 5:30, so you can't run out and go spend your $25 until the end of the court. But I just everybody over there was very, very it was a great experience. So I hope that by the time they get to me, if I'm picking a jury, everybody's uptight and everything. So this was a little bit better. Hopefully the jurors would be less, more relaxed and ready to listen. So I'm excited about what they're doing over there. That's it. Oh, so congratulations, Madam Clerk, for doing such a great job.
Well, let me just add my congratulations to Madam Clerk, too, because she is very aware of what we are doing with the Stepping Up initiative and how that affects what her office is doing and and the progression through the court system.
Right.
And so I have appreciated that.
Right. Okay, I'm done.
Very good, very good. I'll just comment also a little bit about the clerk's office, because the level of customer service, I actually talked to a couple of resident citizens a couple of weeks ago, and they were really praising the clerk's office, the clerk of court, and Ms. Morris and her team for the level of customer service that they demonstrate over there on a day-to-day basis. And we always like to get praise reports, good news about when some of our county partners or departments and divisions are doing great work. I've got a couple of departments that are doing some great work, and I have a few announcements, commissioners, this morning to announce. And I'm going to start with Director Simpkins out of our stormwater department. Come on, stormwater management. Come on up, Director Simpkins.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Chairman, Madam Commissioners,
Good morning.
colleagues, good morning. Just very excited about this meeting today. There were a couple of items on this agenda that I was really excited about and that are going to really help us out in the long run with Rockdale. The storm drainage contract, which the chairman talks about, 40 years of neglect. This contract is a major tool in us getting started on addressing the neglect here in Rockdale. You know, I'm out and about talking to citizens and just hearing how they have issues, and you know, had this issue for a year or so or 2 years, and just really wanting to get something done about it. Now we have the tools in place to address some of these citizens that have been out here patiently waiting on getting this work done. Also, the MOU, you know, as we know, a lot of times paying your stormwater utility fee was a voluntary thing. So you wonder, wow, okay, how are we going to address these issues? Because these issues cost money. Well, now that it's been placed on the property tax bill, you know, we've seen our collection rate skyrocket, in which that gives us the funding to address a lot of these issues that we have out here. So I'm just really excited. We're going to work very closely with PR to make sure that when we break ground on a lot of these projects, these citizens know that this is their stormwater dollars at work. So that's really just the major things I've been very excited about.
Well, Director Simpkins, we certainly do appreciate the good news and your level of excitement, but certainly the work that you and your team do. And you talked about the years of neglect in the county, and it is about educating the public. So many times citizens don't really know or understand when we reference the fact that it's been 40 years of neglect. Well, that's because no one really took the lead in terms of making sure we get it done. And through Terminus, Mr. Mack, Underwood, and your team, and our finance department, and our team to be able to secure those bonds and work with the tax commissioner, I must say, to be able to get this done on behalf of the citizens of the county. All of us know that every time we have a downpouring of rain, I mean, it is a flooding situation all throughout the county. And in order to unclog the county, and we're talking about 40 years of being clogged up, it's going to take what you just described, money. So we certainly do appreciate the good work that you're doing. And anytime you've got good news, keep us posted. And yes, get with public relations, get a camera and a microphone on every situation, every project that moves us in a positive direction. Give him a round of applause. You got me excited. We've got more good news. I'm going to call up Director Will Barkley he's our Chief Tax Assessor from the Tax Assessor's Office. Commissioner Williams did a great job alluding to some of the information, and some of these hocus pocus people that are sending stuff through the mail. I've heard Director Barkley talk about what's real and what's not real before. Director Barkley, give us the good news of what's going on in your office, and I think you've got some extra hours for the citizens to come in and take advantage of getting some things done.
Yes, I do, Chairman. Before I dive into that, good morning to you. Good morning to Madam Commissioners.
Good morning.
Today marks the 92nd birthday of my mom.
Oh, wow.
So
let's give her a wonderful round of applause. Wow.
So I know that we're dealing with women's history this month, so I wanted to caveat that in. So anytime I have an opportunity to get in front of the mic, I'm going to steal a few minutes.
Yes, yes. And wait a minute, since you took us there, you want to just tell us a little bit more about your wonderful mother. 97 years is a big, big deal, and talk to us.
Okay, absolutely. She's born 1930, March 22nd of 1930. She has 13 kids. I have 8 brothers and 4 sisters. So of those 13 kids, there are 10 that are college graduates. So based on the fact that she never had an opportunity, based on the fact that she never had an opportunity actually to pursue education, that was one of the things that she put at the forefront for all of us to challenge us to become more educated. So with that, 10 of us were able to go to college. The other 3 actually went into the military.
Very good.
So, but that's a little bit just of her, but I don't want to go into any great detail because she's very shy and probably don't even like the fact that I'm talking about it. So,
well, happy birthday to your mother. Let's give his mother another round of applause. 97 years is a 92 years. 92 years is a big deal. 91, 97, that is all is beautiful. Absolutely.
60.
absolutely. Yeah.
Thank
But we
you
have a
so
couple
much.
of things
Thank you for
that.
sharing that.
Oh, you're welcome. We have a couple of things that are actually going on in the Board of Assessors office. However, this weekend is going to mark another weekend that we're going to offer extended hours. So our office is going to be open from 8 to 12 this weekend for individuals to come in and even apply for a homestead exemption or even talk about property taxes or talk about the valuation of their property. A lot of times you will see the propaganda that's going to be distributed within the community just talking about different things related to how they can help lower your property tax assessment. You can do that on your own. You don't necessarily have to hire someone in order to do that. You can either file the property tax appeal online or you can actually come into the office or merely send a letter stating that you disagree with the valuation of your property, and someone will review that property from that standpoint. So April 1st is a very big deadline for us as well. So anyone who owns a home as of January 1st of each year has an opportunity to come into the office and file what we call a homestead exemption application. And what that does is that qualifies you for an additional discount on your property taxes. As the values are increasing all over the country, if you qualify for the homestead exemption, you would see a substantial impact as far as lowering your property values, taxes at least.
Well, we certainly appreciate the good news and the fact that you talk about the spirit of customer service commissioner, the fact that they're going to be open to make sure we can accommodate those citizens who otherwise, due to their busy schedules, probably don't have the time. But then the other piece is about what he talked about 3 years ago is education and information, sitting down and explaining to those residents, explaining the ins and outs of homestead exemption and all of the things. They're getting it straight from the horse's mouth, and they're getting it the correct way without hearing it off the cuff from someone who's misleading them inside the community. This is a wonderful thing. This is customer service. We appreciate what you're doing over there in the tax assessor's office. More importantly, we appreciate the adjustment of your schedule and your team being there on the weekend to address this from 8 a.m. to noon, and the fact that you continue to educate folks long before they begin to receive these statements later on in the year. It just makes good sense.
Yeah, we're going to also, at some point, we're going to extend the hours during the week, just for a couple of times during the month, maybe periodically during the year, just to give people an opportunity to come after
great.
5 o'clock.
That's
so
great.
we won't
That's
necessarily do it on the weekend permanently, but we would like to probably extend those hours occasionally to give people an opportunity who may not be able to get here by 5 o'clock.
Absolutely.
Okay.
65% of the residents that live in Rockdale County drive westbound toward Atlanta every day for employment. And it is a horrendous feat to make it back into the county with that traffic. So oftentimes those people who like to get to your office by 5 o'clock, they just can't make it. So if you open and stay open to 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. on any 1 or 2 days of the week or a few times out of the month, it would certainly help those residents who want to do business and gain some understanding about tax assessment.
6 o'clock sounds a lot better than 7.
All right.
I have a question.
Well, 6 o'clock it is, and we appreciate it. Let's give them a round of applause. I think that's meeting the customer where the needs are. We certainly do appreciate it. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Is the homestead exemption, that's April the 1st, is that also online?
Yes, all of those. Technically, anything that you want to do within the assessor's office actually can be done online. We have, you can file the appeal online once that particular period opens up. You can't file an appeal until after you've received a letter, a notice of assessment. So that's going to actually, we're planning for those to go out no later than April 22nd. So hopefully, if everything works well, we're able to finish doing all of the reviews that we need to do. Those notifications will go out on April 22nd. And you will have 45 days from the date of that notice to file an appeal. If you want to come in, you can come in and do it, or you can actually do it online.
Thank you.
So can I just make a comment? A number of years ago, I got a tax assessment that showed that we had like 800 square feet of finished basement. And I couldn't figure out where that came from, because in reality, it's less than 300 square feet of finished basement, and the rest is all unfinished. But I went into the tax assessor's office and talked with them, and they go, "Oh, okay," and fixed it, and that was it. It was a simple process. I was really nervous about it at the time, but.
Right. A lot of the information that we have, some of it can be historical, and some of that information could be incorrect. So once we send the notice of assessment, we're notifying each taxpayer each year, this is what your valuation is going to be for that particular year. If you disagree with that valuation, then you have an opportunity to actually come into the office and talk to an appraiser. And what we will do is go through each individual item that's listed on your property, just to make sure that all the data is correct. So that's your opportunity each year as well. And even if you don't want to file an appeal, you can actually file what we call a return at the beginning of the year, declaring what you think your valuation could be.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Director Barkley is just loaded with information. We certainly do appreciate the work that he and his team does. Thank you so much. Thank you. Commissioner, what year was your house built?
1937.
Okay, all right. Okay, all right. You talked about yeah, I don't even know whether they was keeping assessments the same way back in 1937 as they do it now.
It was the same time as the courthouse.
Same time as the courthouse.
Exactly.
Okay, but
Yeah.
you remodeled your house. You've upgraded your house. Let the record reflect. She's not living in the 1937
Let's
structure.
hope she has.
Oh, Lord.
Well, we're living in the main structure.
The main structure,
yes,
but it's been
still
modified.
good, but
Yes.
yes, we have
Woo,
updated.
okay.
Okay, can I make another
Please,
comment?
go right ahead.
I had another thought.
Yes.
We keep hearing the phrase 40 years of neglect, and why has nothing been done in 40 years? Well, so my thought has been, we've been working on things for 40 years, but it's always just been on a as-needed catch-up basis.
Band-Aids.
There's been no preventative maintenance plan, no strategic plan. And that's where, since we became an administration, we started immediately with the Rockdale Water Resources and creating a strategic plan. We've tried to address the courthouse strategic plan. We're addressing stormwater as a strategic plan. No, people before us did repairs, but they were just, Band-Aids.
We've gone
And
from
so-
being reactive to proactive, and,
Yes.
and as you made mention to, Commissioner, having a comprehensive strategic plan and having the guts to get off it and go ahead and do what needs to be done. I mean, we could sit here and talk about all the issues that's going on in the county. It's one thing to talk about it, something totally different to do something about it.
Exactly.
When we talk about Women's History Month, you reminded me of one of my mama's favorite lines. I can show you, better than I can tell you. And that's exactly what we've been doing since this administration's been together. We've been actually showing folks, instead of just talking about it and just looking at things lie dormant without anything, or either pointing the blame or playing the blame game. We've got to get it done. And citizens demand, and they require to live in a community and a county that is world class. And that's what we've been trying to communicate and create here in Rockdale County. It takes time, but it also takes money. I want to call up at this time Director Morgan from our Emergency Management Agency. Come on up, Director Morgan. You've got some updates and announcements. I don't know whether to say good news or not, but I think it's good that you can tell us what's coming.
Yes, okay. Well, I do have exciting news. Talking about updates, the animal shelter is going to have a grand reopening Saturday, April 16th from 10 to 12. Put it on your calendars now. That will be the kickoff. We'll have new programming. The staff and general services teams and a contractor, they have done wonders. It's expanded. Literally, it is new from the floor, literally to the ceiling. I mean, the floor and the ceiling are both new. So it is top notch. We've added some capacity, and that means we can start having office hours again. We can have people coming in. We can really push adoptions, and I want to talk about that just for a second.
Yes, sir.
We have a brand new program. In fact, Ms. Director Gomez is going to come out and shoot some video. We have dogs who are artists. We would like for you to adopt the dog and get their artwork. So it's something new we're trying. So if you've always wanted to have an artist living in your home, please come out. You can adopt a dog. I see a look of uncertainty. We have little canvases, and they paint on the canvases, and when you adopt the dog, you get to take their artwork home with you. So it's very cute. They will be at the Cherry Blossom Festival, about 4 or 5 of our artists to start this process this weekend, and adoptions are $60. And just let you know that that's another new program we have, is when you adopt this dog, it is ready to go home. It has its shots, it has been spayed or neutered, it has been microchipped, so it is ready. There are no vet fees for you to take the dog and have it done. So we're excited about this new phase in animal services and jumping off into it really big.
Wow.
And what time is that on the 16th?
10 to 12.
10 to 12.
We'll have some snacks. We'll have tours of the facility. There'll be opportunities for you to see some of the animals, probably adopt. So make sure you have room in your car to take one home. And but anyway, I'm excited about it. Next thing is, everyone needs to be aware of the weather tomorrow. Have the possibility of having severe storms about lunchtime to early afternoon. These have the potential to be bigger than the ones we just potentially had last Friday. The winds could be higher, shorter term, but the winds could be higher. And lastly, COVID numbers are down to some of the lowest numbers we've had since last July. Rockdale area is considered in the moderate to low category. It's according to which scale you look at from the CDC or Department of Public Health. So we are doing much better on that.
That deserves a round of applause, too. Absolutely.
Thank you.
One question, can we get the artwork without adopting?
We are working on that because they love doing the artwork because it involves peanut butter. So,
My dog likes peanut.
yes, we are working on that. I even talked to Shelley Siebert in the Arts Council yesterday about the possibility of having an art show. So, but anyway, yes, we will work on that. In fact, I tell you what, Commissioners, when we meet next time, you'll be presented with commemorative artwork from our artist.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Arts and culture, we love it.
Thank you, Director Morgan, and our EMA team, which is also responsible for our animal care division, and we are excited about the grand opening of our animal care facility. We have a very robust of citizens in our community who are pet lovers and pet owners and advocates. And I have to give hats off to the community because they came in 2 years ago and really supported, should I say, general services, animal services, and our entire team with the shelter about moving forward and making some modifications toward animal care here in Rockdale. And we've done that. And SPLOST dollars are at work in a big, big way. I'll tell you, when folks come by on the 16th of April from 12 to noon, they're going to be really excited and really proud about the progress that's being made in Rockdale County. Another updated report coming from our fire chief. Chief Mack, come on up. You've got another little thing you want to share with us.
Thank you, sir. So during our Citizens Government Academy, one of the participants approached me about a program that Gwinnett County is doing, and it's called File for Life. And I'm happy to say that we've now implemented that. And what it is that primarily for our seniors, but all home owners, there's a kit that you have. You complete the kit with all your medical information, allergies, medicines, anything about everyone in your household. You place that on your refrigerator. So when medical responders come and you're not able to provide that information, they're able to go to that refrigerator and get everything about you and whomever's in your home. So that is really a big thing. Lieutenant White, who's our fire safety educator, I meant to mention this when she was here. We just kicked this off last week, and she's already issued 200 of them. So I want to put that out there for the person that made the recommendation, if they're watching, and know that we heard them, and we implemented it. And to let our citizens know, this is not just for our seniors, this is for every homeowner to get that, for your children, you, your husband, whomever's in your home, to do that. Also, Director Morgan reached out about a Yellow Dot awareness program, similar to the File for Life. This goes in your car. I think a yellow dot is placed somewhere on your car, and the packet itself is placed in the glove compartment. So in the event you have an incident on a highway, you're not able to talk, that yellow dot lets medical responders know to look in there and get your medical information. So want to put that out. You can contact Lieutenant Elizabeth White at 770-278-8401 if you're interested in receiving one of the File for Life packets.
And Chief, if you give us that number a little slower one more time, please.
770-278-8401. That is the number to fire headquarters, looking for Lieutenant Elizabeth White.
Thank you so much, Chief. That's good news. I mean, when I think about the number of seniors in our community, that is really good news. I like what you talked about, having the information readily available there on the refrigerator, medications and information, and other persons that sometimes when EMA get there, folks are in a situation where they can't respond or they're non-responsive and can't talk. And if they've participated in this program, that expedites the service, the treatment, and the care, and also reaching. We have a good number of senior citizens who live alone. And to have this kind of information at their disposal is a big, big deal. Last year, myself and Ms. Mims responded to a welfare check we got directly through our office to a senior citizen here in Old Town in Conyers. And when we got over there, although he was responsive and alert by the time we got there, he was really kind of delirious and couldn't give us a lot of the information. Luckily, he had a basket by his nightstand that had just about everything in there, and we were able to reach out to his children, and as well as call the EMA to get him transported down to Rockdale Hospital. It just made all the difference. Having a program like that, as well as the Yellow Dot program, it's about saving lives, and we certainly do appreciate it. That's good news. Thank you. And thank you to Lieutenant White, who's leading that effort. Absolutely, absolutely. I'm gonna call up Director Sanders from General Services. She's got some information to share with us as well. Director Sanders.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just wanted to make everyone aware of our change in location for our citizens, SPLOST Citizens Oversight Committee. Typically, they had met at JP Carr, but now with the different usage for that, they will start beginning Monday, April 25th at 6:15 p.m. at Johnson Park in the large meeting room. And that is an opportunity. It's open to the public for the citizens to come out and see what they do at the SPLOST meetings. And that is a good chance also when Commissioner Washington must have been reading my mind last week when the deputy was up here. I was like wanting to jump out of my seat because a lot of people, even employees don't understand that SPLOST funds have to be used for certain things. They can't be used for maintenance. They can't be used for salaries. So, but the meetings are open to the public, and the citizens that are involved are very knowledgeable, and all of the requisitions that people see coming through on the board agendas that say SPLOST funds after them, they come as a direct motion from that committee to allot funds for the project. So it's a great opportunity for citizens and even employees that don't understand. They can always reach out to me, but it's really specific. We can't even use the SPLOST funds for maintenance, like maintenance projects at the courthouse. The only maintenance items that can be done are for road resurfacing. So, but anyone that needs information can always reach out to me. But again, the next meeting is Monday, April 25th at 6:15 p.m. at the Johnson Park Meeting Room, and it is open to the public.
So would you say that that's a citizen oversight committee that
Yes.
manages the SPLOST funds?
It is the Citizens Oversight Committee, and it is put before the Board of Commissioners. You all, sign the resolution to make them into effect. And they actually, we have different subcommittees, and one of the subcommittees is finance. So they look at finances of the entire SPLOST. One is, and then each of the others are for the different categories: fire, 911, sheriff, water, parks and rec, and seniors. Those different subcommittees meet, and then they bring motions to the full committee. So the full committee also understands all of the projects that are going on. But a lot of these citizens have been involved for a long time, and you can catch them at the meetings and ask them questions about the different projects that the departments have done and how the money's used. So it's a good opportunity for anyone really to learn more.
I can't think of a time when we've ever not taken the recommendations of the SPLOST committee.
It has never happened, and one of the members had made mention of that the projects actually come from the department heads, meet with the subcommittees. They don't come from the Board of Commissioners. So the projects aren't even developed. The categories are. And then once the SPLOST is approved, the subcommittees meet with the department heads that in the various areas, and they look at projects. Like, for instance, with Parks and Recreation, at the beginning of this SPLOST, we actually did tours of all the parks with the citizens, and they saw all the needs, and they actually helped us come up with lists. So it is a citizens oversight, and the recommendations that come from that come to you all for approval.
Thank you.
That was going to be my question. How many projects are coming from the board to you all? And I don't think in my 5 years I've ever made a recommendation for. I've made some recommendations of things I've seen in other places, but not necessarily that we need to do this as a SPLOST committee. That it's truly a citizens up process for SPLOST. So
yeah, we've never had a commissioner come to the meeting and tell them what they needed to do. No, it's truly.
Well, I really appreciate Director Sanders sharing that with us about SPLOST and how SPLOST works. There's so many citizens that, people are busy. A lot of folks really just don't know and understand. But what I do appreciate is that, and I wrote it down, Commissioner Williams said it a little while ago, she says, do your research. There's an opportunity for you to go and sit on the sidelines or the anchor of the wall of that meeting and listen to the decisions and some of the projects that the Oversight and the different committees are working on, and on behalf of those various different departments, be it public safety, parks and recreation, transportation, whatever the case might be. You can learn and gain and gather information, and you have an opportunity because they're your peers, they're your fellow citizens. You can talk to them after the meeting and say, listen, I've got an idea, I have a suggestion, I have a recommendation, what about this or what about that? And it empowers and equips the citizens so that when they come into our meeting, they'll have their facts together. They'll know exactly what they're talking about. But more importantly, it gives them buy-in, and they allow them to contribute to what's moving in the county and as we move and progress the county. Thank you so much. Commissioner, go ahead.
I just have, how many citizens are on the SPLOST committee?
It started out a little over 30. A few have dropped off, but it's around 30.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. That was really, really good information. I think the last person I'm going to call up this time will be Ms. Mims from the Office of Community Relations from the Chairman's Office. Ms. Mims have a couple of announcements about some of the upcoming projects we do year in, year after year. Come on up, Ms. Mills.
Good morning, Madam Commissioners. Greetings, Chairman.
Good morning.
So I do have a couple announcements, but I want to say oftentimes we get requests for a variety of things. And one of the schools asked for some career day participants, and it just hit me this morning. I sent out the invitation to some directors, but I wasn't aware of who was going to go. And the coordinator called on Friday, or maybe it was Saturday, but she said, thank you, because they were so great. And when I came in, we had 2 directors, maybe it was 3, but 2 directors that are here today that went to the school to present. And I see why they made such an impact, because number one, they're males, and oftentimes in schools, you don't get male participation. So I just want to acknowledge, is it okay to acknowledge the 2 directors
Yes,
that went?
please.
Director Redmond and Director Stan. So I wasn't aware of who went, but she bragged on the people that came from Rockdale County and the impact that they made. And Director Kelly shared with me that he probably needs to go more often because the students asked
He
all
likes to
type
talk
of
too.
questions.
He really like, Director Kelly likes to talk, so that's right up his alley.
Yeah. So thank you for showing up in the school system. But the 2 announcements also with getting calls and so forth, the chairman's, the Linda Ham initiative will take place April 10th. And I already have senior citizens calling, asking can they reserve a ham. Usually that's not the way it happened. It's first come, first serve. Oh my, you're showing a video. So, so I just want to strongly encourage everyone to give hams because it really is first come, first serve. We are accepting hams now at Courtesy Forward. So please give. The giveaway will be April 10th at 3 o'clock. Also, this Thursday, we want to invite any pastor that is in the community to come out to the 13th annual Pastor's Table. As of today, this is our largest Pastor's Table yet. So I think the pastors want to come out and interact with our directors. So if you're interested in coming to the event, please call me at 770-278-7013 if you're interested in attending the Pastor's Table. This time around, we're going to have lots of information from a variety of well, not necessarily departments, but great information, and they can interact with the department heads. That includes my announcements.
All right. Well, thank you, Ms. Mims. Give her a round of applause. I really appreciate Ms. Mims highlighting the Linda Ham and, of course, the Pastor's Table. We've been doing these projects for so long. This is just a drop in the bucket in terms of the kind of work that Ms. Mims does when you talk about reaching through to all those unique situations in our community that people call the office of the chairman. They think that we can just do some of everything. She could probably have a sidebar with you about some of the most unique and interesting calls we get to go out and do different things. We try to help whenever we can. We don't have a magic wand, but the Linda Ham project she made mention is coming up again. It is, as she stated, first come, first serve. Usually, the last few years, this project has ended in about an hour. The senior citizens are already there when we get there with the truckloads of hams, and they know the routine. We've been doing this now for 13 years. So we encourage you, and for those citizens who are senior citizens who are sick and shut in, you're sending children, grandchildren, or what have you, make sure they get there early on time. We always get a little disappointed when folks come well after all of the hams have been distributed, and it's just, but we need your help. And to the citizens who are hearing this, guess what we need? We need hams. A lot of times we get bombarded with folks saying, I want to come volunteer. Well, we'd love for you to volunteer, but can you please bring a ham with you? We need hams. So if you know someone who's in a position to bless our senior citizens, we give the hams out on Palm Sunday, the Sunday before Easter. And it really makes a big difference in our community because there are tons of senior citizens who are raising their young grandchildren for whatever reason. They've been stuck raising the grandchildren, and this ham makes a big difference on the table on Easter Sunday morning. So we certainly do appreciate that. I want to go next and talk about what she made mention coming up this week, the Pastor's Table. This is the 13th year, Director Rutledge, we've been hosting the Pastor's Table here in Rockdale County. Now, let me just say that this is for pastors only. It's not for the pastor's wife or the first lady. It's not for the associate pastor, the assistant pastor. And I say it like that because Coaxum really has some good food. They have some good food, and they serve as the host location each year for this pastor's table. And these pastors, you know, good old Southern pastors, they love to eat. And we put out a big spread for them, and we like to encourage all. Rockdale County has over 300 churches. And Ms. Mims told me the tail end of last week, she says, Chairman, I believe we're going to have a packed house this year. The benefit in the pastors coming out is learning who the players are in Rockdale County. Each of the department heads will be there to talk about their departments and exchange business cards and information. People can put a name with a face in terms of who is in charge of Parks and Rec, who is the chief tax assessor, who's in charge of stormwater and the water department and transportation, and find out who heads up general services and all of those different departments inside county government. They get a chance to meet our director of talent management. We have several vacancies in Rockdale County. We're looking to hire people. They can talk to the director of talent management. This is a great opportunity. They can share some of those unique stories they have with our public relations director and really get a bird's eye, more of an intimate opportunity, Chief Cade, to really meet all of the directors and learn about the things that are happening in Rockdale County. Commissioners, I got to go back now and I got to talk just for a moment about the significance of SPLOST, and I can't thank Executive Director Sanders enough for coming up and sharing that. Rockdale County cannot live without SPLOST. This community cannot operate without the benefits of our SPLOST contribution from our citizens. Director Rutledge, how many years? It's been 30 plus years we've had SPLOST here.
Since the first SPLOST?
Yes.
1984.
1984, that's 36, 37 years. And when you think about roads and bridges, parks and recreation, senior services, our sheriff's office, and the police, the fire department won let me make sure I have it right. A fire engine by itself is $500,000. They haven't even put all the lights, bells, and whistles and all the stuff on it. It's $500,000 when you go online to make your order. Then, not to mention, the ladder truck itself is $1 million for a ladder truck. So as the county is growing, people are coming into the community. We are attracting the right kind of residents. What do I mean by right kind of residents? I'm talking about folks who are going to bolster up the tax digest, help us be able to improve and get better down the road, because they're never going to see a Trader Joe's or a Krispy Kreme or a Dave & Buster or a Whole Foods until we get folks in here that can support those kinds of business. I'm going to yield now to Director Rutledge. She's got some updates as she serves as our Legislative Affairs Director, and there's many things that are happening down at the state capitol. Director Rutledge.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, but I'm still distracted about the dog artists, and I have been steady thinking about that since Director Morgan. That's two of my favorite things have collided, dogs and art. Who knew, right? So, but yes.
So you might have an adoptive person.
I'm going to have to stay away from that shelter. How many can fit in my car? Probably a good bit, right? 4. Okay. They have to wear seatbelts. Okay, thank you. Yeah. All right, don't forget about me with the dog art, okay? So yes, Mr. Chairman, we have a few things happening. Today is day 32 of the state legislative session. 8 more days left before sine die. We have 2 bills that may or may not make it. The Public Facilities Authority and the salary increases for the elected officials. We'll know this week. So yeah, we have a good bit, and I want to shift for a minute on the federal congressional level. Appropriations have opened for earmark projects, which we are going to submit. We have, as you know, a list of $232 million worth of capital projects that could possibly be submitted. We have several grants that we are working on as well that are for federal and state as well. So we are very focused on that. Director Lewis and I actually have a meeting tomorrow to discuss more about the federal appropriations. One more thing I wanted to say before I go back to the chairman is that next Tuesday is a 5th Tuesday, so we will not have a board meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, Chief Cape, you've been working on several projects with several of our departments. Anything that you want to share with the commissioners and the public this morning?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. The only thing that I will add is obviously our War on Litter campaign ended not too long ago. Staff will be holding a post debrief later this week. And in that meeting, we will be making plans for future arrangements as it relates to future events that we intend to schedule, which will involve our citizens. We had a lot of citizens that approached our volunteers from both county and city governments on March 11th, asking how they can participate in the events in the future. So we will certainly have those dates forthcoming. Got a lot of great things going on in the county, bouncing around from different departments, assisting different departments with initiatives. I'm excited about the State of the County address that's coming up on March 31st that will take place, and that's it.
All right, very good. Director Gum, your team was showing the video from the War on Litter. I'm going to ask that, go ahead and play that again. I want to let everybody take a look at that and bring the audio piece up as well. Absolutely.
Well, we're having an employee county-wide trash pickup for all of Rockdale, and the county and the city are working together to hit as many road miles as possible on a single day to pick up right-of-way trash.
Approximately 150 to 160 employees from both the City of Conyers and Rockdale County government that is out essentially cleaning up the community. They have one goal today, and that's to make the community cleaner than it currently is.
Be conscious. That's all I ask, is to be conscious of what you're throwing out the window.
Good morning, Rockdale. War on litter, Rockdale County.
I'm a resident of Rockdale County, so it means a lot to me when I drive around and I see that my community is clean.
The message we're sending to our residents is, listen, please properly dispose of your household waste. There is a litter problem here. We're encouraging our citizens to do their part. In fact, we ask that you see something, say something.
I especially want to thank all the employees of the city and the county for showing up today. We had almost 70 employees from the city.
I think it's a great thing for the community.
We believe that when you look good, you feel good. Big hats off to our public relations department. The entire team was out with us on March 11th, and they always produce a very high quality video production, and really depicts the work and the effort that we're making throughout the county. So thank you to Director Gum and his entire staff for the work they do. I don't want to miss my women's history person. Both you and Commissioner Williams have already done yours, and I have chosen to go local, okay? A lot of you all are familiar with Highway 138 on the north side. There's a subdivision by the name of Queenie Smith. Well, that's not a fictitious name. There was a lady who lived in our community, born and raised native in Rockdale County. In fact, she passed away, I believe, Director Rutledge, around 2002. Miss Queenie Smith, she was truly a woman's woman here in Rockdale County. She was championing several different causes, a very active advocate for the progressive movement of Rockdale County as a whole. And she did such good work in our community, they named the whole subdivision after Miss Queenie Smith. So a lot of the folks who are watching and listening to this broadcast, they remember Miss Smith, and they remember the fine work that she done. She was a big advocate, not just for seniors, but also for young people. And she made sure that those people who were in, and she was not an elected official, but she was well and highly respected and regarded in his community. And I was told that if you got a call from Miss Queenie Smith, you better take it, because if you wanted something to move forward, you might want to have her on your side. So I want to highlight and recognize Miss Queenie Smith, who is no longer with us, but her family and members of her descendants of her family are still here in Rockdale County. And I think as much as as Commissioner Williams alluded to earlier, there are so many women who've done phenomenal things. Director Barkley talked about the fact that his mother turns 92 years old, and the list goes on and on and on. I wanted to highlight a local contributor here in Rockdale County who has made a great difference. And Rockdale County is a better place because of Miss Queenie Smith. Director Rutledge, is there any need for executive session this morning?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience. Thank you for coming out. Thank you to Chief Mack and all of the female firefighters with Rockdale County Fire and Rescue. Thank you to our staff. Thank you to Mr. Bethune and Ms. Turner for coming out this morning and participating in their civic duty in terms of what's happening in their county and their community. Happy Tuesday. Be safe. This meeting is adjourned.
Is it just me, or is there some?